How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the fourth and final workshop in our cultural enrichment and professional development training series. My name is Kyle Lackey. I am the program coordinator here in the Office of Workforce Integration, and I am honored and thrilled to introduce Clara McCallum. So, Clara is a senior corporate trainer and motivational speaker who creates and delivers content rich programs. Her leadership, training style, and professional knowledge has given her a well deserved reputation in a multitude of workshops and training seminars that she has facilitated that stretches beyond the transfer of information. Her workshops offer a dynamic and highly interactive experience for participants. As a trainer who has enormous experience in the corporate setting, Claire is exponentially skilled at identifying the right resources for the specific project. She is an instructional designer and, without a doubt, a force behind the development and design of customized training projects. Her how to seminars have profoundly affected a wide variety of people, and her comfortable and engaging presentation style makes it easy to assimilate information and make it user friendly at once. So grab a pen, grab a pad, and get ready to level up your leadership. Clara, the stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Wow, that's a tall mountain I'm going to have to climb. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure joining you this evening and to engage in a discussion on leadership development. This is an exciting title, and we have a wealth of information that we're going to cover. So, welcome again, and let's get started. When we think about leadership development, I'd like to cover some areas in the following areas. Leadership development, what does that really entail? And inclusive leadership, what does that mean? Leadership versus management, we'll be able to clarify the differences. And certainly key to your development is be able to effectively communicate and listen to others. We'll talk about change management. That's going to be exciting. And then we'll talk about building trust. And then what focus means to you or should mean to you as you embark on a leadership development career. And then I will close. So let's hit the ground running. Here we go. What you can expect is lots of information. So I'm going to reiterate what Kyle just said. Grab a pad and grab a pen because this is going to be critical. It's going to be good. It's an investment that you're going to be able to get returns on. Trust me. I've been there and done that. And we're going to synergize. Kyle has been so graciously accepted that he would take any questions that you have and get back to you with the answers. We have a lot of information that we want to cover in a short span of time, so we're going to hit the ground running. 2 + 2 = 6. No, I didn't get an A in my mathematics class. But in relation to synergy, 2 + 2 = 6 means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. In other words, people, when they engage in it, when they synergize, synergy is better than my way or your way. It's our way. That is what Stephen Covey said. Okay. And then when I think of synergy, is combined power of a group. Notice I said a group in sync with each other. When they are working together, that is greater than the total power achieved by each working separately. Okay. And then, so if I was able to interact with you, unfortunately during this video, we can't, but think about what you're looking at now. What do you see? You know, entertain that in your mindset. And if I was able to interact with you verbally, I would get a multitude of different answers. However, it literally means perception. And what that means is that we have a tendency to look at people and perceive who we think they are. Now, let's entertain this: perception and cultural barriers. In social psychology, the term person perception refers to the different mental process that we use to form impressions of other people. Secondly, this allows us to make snap decisions, judgments, and decisions, but it can also lead to biased or stereotype perceptions of other people. And we should avoid perceiving people based on who we think they are. That could be a big mistake because you don't ever know who you're crossing paths with, okay? And then, so since we're going to talk about leadership, let's really take a close look at what leadership entails. When I think of leadership, leadership is someone who has followers and the ability to influence, motivate, and enable others to contribute towards organizational success. Those credentials that Kyle shared with you about me, it wasn't because of my doing, it was because of the leadership that I came under that saw something in me that I didn't see. And that is why I do what I do today. So if leadership in terms you want to have an influential impact on people, and your attitude should go from a me to a we, because it takes all of you to make it happen, you and your team. So let's talk about inclusive leadership. What does that entail? Point is, inclusive leadership is a kind of leadership that values team members, invites diverse perspectives, and creates an atmosphere where people feel their opinions and contributions improve the company's well-being. You know, if we came from a cookie cutter pattern, where would the creativity come from? We would not have any. That's a fact. Okay. So, and in terms of inclusion aims to embrace all people, irrespective of race, gender, disability, medical, or other needs. It's about giving equal access and opportunities and eliminating discrimination and intolerance. In other words, we're removing barriers. We accept people for who they are. That's the attitude that we want to embrace when people are looking to you for direction as an effective leader. And so if we're going to develop into an effective leader, we have to look through the lens of a leader. Leaders have a vision. And what that means is that they see where they want to go. They see where their destination, and they map it out. They're on a mission, and a mission to accomplish things. And then they have goals. Without goals, it's impossible to measure and monitor the progress that you're making. And then in terms of leadership, you want to be a catalyst. A catalyst leader is, let's look at positional power, which is the authority you yield by virtue of your position in the organization structure and hierarchy. However, professional, personal power is your own skill and ability to influence people and events by means of professionalism and respect. When we respect people, people are drawn to us. When we disrespect people, people move away from us. And you don't want that in a leadership position. And so catalyst leaders believe in capitalizing on the talents of others. People are not made from cookie cutter patterns, so they come with different ideas and different ways of getting things done, and that's what you want. People deserve respect, and there is value in differences. Here again, I reiterate, if we were all made from a cookie cutter pattern, we wouldn't have any creativity. Catalysts believe in involving people in decision-making and implementation. Catalyst leaders believe in providing support to others as a key role. Catalyst leaders, this is critical, guys. Leaders as a catalyst spark others into action. And that's what you want the ability to be able to do, to get people up and running at their highest level of energy and creativity. That's an effective leader. So as you develop, think about that. And leadership, influence. Well, what are we talking about? Influence. Influence is being cooperative or collaborative with individuals that are looking to you for direction. Leadership is knowing your facts. And buckle up, this is going to be a little tight. Just because we might be in the leadership role doesn't mean that we have all the know-hows. That's why we have a team. You tap into the values of your team. And then involving others, willing to compromise. That's influential leadership. Seeking instead of telling. And I'm going to be talking about our communication style, because communication is one of the most valuable skills that a leader can have. And then being flexible and solution oriented, and then showing respect for others' viewpoints. It doesn't mean that we have to accept what's being said, but we should be willing to listen. And finally, using effective communications. We're going to talk about communications as I progress a little bit further in the presentation. Okay, so let's examine what differences generate negativity. For instance, a lack of respect due to different perspectives. Focus is lost from accomplishing business goals to winning personal battles. Poor communication, and I said that earlier. A lack of team collaboration, and damage working relationships. You don't want that, because if you have damaged relationships, you're not leading anybody because they're not following. Okay, so that is critical. You want to build long-lasting, positive, trustworthy relationships when you are in a leadership role. Okay, so let's entertain this point of interest. We all live with the objective of being happy. Our lives are all different and yet the same. So here's some food for thought. Let's think about this, guys. What you respect, you will attract. Think about that. What you tolerate will not change. And you can only change when you hate the presence. Hopefully that makes sense to all of you. And then I think about the essentials of leadership development. Ask yourself this: what value should guide my actions as a leader? How do I share power and information and still maintain accountability? How do I best set an example for others? How do I build a cohesive and spirited team? And how do I articulate a vision of the future? These are things that you really want to entertain and meditate on, because they're critical to your growth as a developing leader. And then you want to be aware of bias awareness, which is your own biases and preferences. Let me share this with you. You know where biases come from with a lot of individuals is because things were instilled in them at a very early age. So they grew up with those kinds of beliefs. Again, secondly, involve and rely on the opinions of others from different backgrounds. That is critical. And ask for input and consider non-traditional ideas for approaching new projects. Remember, we're talking about a team and effective leadership. And then when I think about equality, pardon me, is critical in terms of meeting people from a human perspective. In other words, people have a need to be heard. People have a need to be respected and valued for what they bring to the team. People have a need to trust and be trusted. And believe me, buckle up when I talk about trust. And people have needs to be involved. So that's critical if we're going to be successful in developing leadership skills and leading a high performance team. So, on another note, knowledge is power, and cultural awareness is the next stage of understanding other groups, being open to ideas of changing cultural attitudes. That's an asset to your growth. So let's entertain a couple of ideas about effective leaders. Effective leaders lead with integrity and truth telling. Effective leaders, ask yourself, are you willing to take risks? Effective leaders get others to embrace change. And I'll be talking about the reaction when change is being introduced a little further into the training. Effective leadership is about respecting others and void of egos and biases. When you have a team and you're in that team and you're leading that team, there are no big I's and little U's. We're all in this together. We bring different styles and gifts to the table, and we sift through them to see what we can use to get us to the place that we want to end up. And then they think creatively, they think outside the box. And then they see a culturally diverse team as an asset, not a liability. And they see the potential in each team member. You know something? I tell you something. Honestly speaking, yes, I'm a leadership instructor, but I'm going to tell you something. I didn't see leadership skills in me. The leader that the team that I was on, the leader saw my potential, and that is why I do what I do today, because of the leadership that I came up under. So let's entertain characteristics of poor leadership. What does that entail? Well, it entails a lack of vision. If we don't have a vision, how do we know where we're going? And they don't collaborate. In other words, it's a big I and little U's. They're not in collaboration with others. They don't walk their talk. When people say one thing and they do something opposite, that kind of sends us into a spin, and it causes us not to trust what they're saying. It causes a breakdown in the trust factor. And poor leadership, they don't learn from mistakes, but I was always taught that mistakes are nothing more than effective teachers, and we learn from them. And then poor leadership entails being resistant to new ideas. They don't resist, they don't embrace new ideas. And if you're not going to embrace new ideas, how can you grow and develop into superiority in terms of being a leader? And then here again, ineffective listening skills. And I'm going to talk about that a little further down. And now communication. Communication is one of the most critical tools that a leader can have. Communication awareness, you want to model professionalism. Ask yourself, what kind of image do you think people have of you right now? I don't want to know, you think about it. And then monitor the rate of your communication. Some people speak at a very rapid pace. Some people, they just drag along, but you want to monitor your rate of speaking when you're speaking to a group, okay? And then be aware of your tone. And I'm going to talk about the statistics, a breakdown in how we're communicating. And then avoid words relative to slang. You don't want to do that. And when we're communicating, you want to avoid getting hooked. Well, what is a hook, Clara? Let me tell you, it's an invitation to engage in unproductive behavior or negative thinking. You know, let me hit the pause button right here. When I think about getting hooked, if somebody says something to you in an abrasive manner, that's an opportunity for you to shine as a professional leader with discipline. Because if you mirror their pattern of unproductive behavior, you've relinquished power to somebody else to control how you behave. And I don't think you should do that. It's really an opportunity to stand flat footed and be a positive model for that individual. And they just might get it. That is effective leadership. Okay. Kyle, can you come back on for a minute? Is that okay?
Yeah, what can I
Yeah,
help you with?
I have a couple of questions here. Do we have time to entertain that, or do
You
you want
know,
to address those later? Or
we can address them. If you feel like you can squeeze out a response, that's perfectly fine.
okay, let me see. You want to read the questions to me?
Yes, I got you. The question is, how do you continue to advocate, show up, and push to be a better leader or professional when the existing leadership fails to offer professional development, training, or avenues for growth?
Because you look at the negativity of that leader that you're coming under and recognize that that is not how you want to come across. It's an asset, not a liability, because it's showing you ineffective leadership. And that's why we're here today to talk about embracing positive leadership skills. Did that answer the question?
You know, I think that it has, you know, and if there is further responses that you want to share after this, I'm recording all of these questions.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
send
We
it to
can
you
do
in
that.
email, and then I'll share this out to everybody who registered. How does that sound?
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm flexible.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you
I'm
for
a
asking
team
the
player.
question. Keep it
I'm a
coming if you
team.
have any. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
So here again, guys, we don't want to get hooked. When somebody is interacting in an unproductive manner, it says something to you that doesn't sit well for you, see that as an opportunity to model the behavior that they should have. Okay? Because if you mirror their behavior, what you're actually doing is giving them permission to control how you behave. And I don't think you should relinquish that kind of power to anybody. Okay? And then let's take a look at this verbal and nonverbal communication. When we're speaking, people know if we're genuine or not. We're not fooling anybody. And so the sound of your voice, 7% is attributed to that. And I mean, the sound, and then the tone of your voice, 38%. Because we can sound sincere or we can sound like we're just making it up. But look at this. When someone is speaking to you and you're in their presence and they can actually see you, look at this. 55% is attributed to your body language. So that is what we call speaking non-verbally. People are reading the body language. Okay. And then we have, let's talk about listening skills. This is critical, really. Listening skills. Does that guy look like he's listening? Not to me, or his partner sitting next to him. So let's go through a couple of definitions for listening. When I think about listening, an active listener is giving you their undivided attention. They're tuned into what's being said to them. Selective listening means that people act like they're at the restaurant. It's a la carte. They pick out the pieces that they like, and the pieces that they don't like that's being shared drop off. They don't hear it. Okay, they're not listening. Empathic listening means that you're including emotions into what's being said to you. And that's a good thing. You're showing escalated concern, some empathy in what's being said to you or what you're saying. Apathy means just the opposite. I couldn't care less about what the person is saying. I'm tuned out. The body is there, but the mind went to the beach. And then pretend listening, here again, and I reiterate, we're sitting there, the body is there, but we are not tuned in to what's being conveyed to us. Okay, Kyle?
Clara, we have one more question if you can answer. Can you elaborate on bad leaders being an asset?
Bad leaders being an asset? I think
Yes.
bad leaders are not an asset. I think bad leaders are a liability.
Do you feel
Do
like
you?
is there any opportunity to learn from what not to do? So is there
Yeah.
value in
Oh,
learning from a
yeah.
bad leader?
Yeah. We don't mirror somebody else's behavior. If somebody is modeling negativity, that's an opportunity for you to zero in. This is not how I want to be seen. This is not how I want to come across. It's a learning experience. It really is. And toxic leaders don't have followers. They just show up to work. Nobody is following them. They're out for a walk on their own. And let me tell you something. A team is supposed to make the leader look good. Let me ask you something. When we look at football and basketball and baseball, those kinds of sports, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking. I'm not necessarily a sports person, but I come from a corporation of 18 years, and they own the New York Knicks. And but you know what? When the team wins, why is it that they always give the trophy to the coach? I'm thinking to myself, I didn't see him out there bouncing the ball, but yet the leader is always recognized for the performance of the team. That's what effective leadership is about. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You want people, I'm telling you, leadership, there's nothing better than leadership. Leaders develop other leaders. Leaders see the potential in the people that they're leading. And I'm going to talk about that as we continue to navigate through the presentation. Okay. All right. So moving forward, here we go. Leadership development. Guys, what I'd like for you to do with this phase is I'd like for you to put on your thinking caps. And I know that you'll be honest with yourself, because I know that I'm interacting with a group that has a high level of integrity because they're pursuing a leadership position. And so put on the thinking caps and ask yourself the following questions. I don't want to know. It's for you only, okay? Food for thought. I believe that I have what it takes to be an effective leader. I am highly motivated to becoming an effective leader and role model for others. I learn from mistakes. I seek and use feedback. I share with my manager my progress goals. I am willing to take risks in my leadership development efforts. I effectively deal with non-work pressures that might interfere with my development efforts. Let me elaborate on number 7. I effectively deal with non-work pressures. In other words, that's an act of discipline. And as an effective developing leader, you certainly want to have that type of discipline within your behavior. I tell people all the time, we all have problems. But when you pull up into the parking lot and you get out, you say, okay, problems, you got to stay here now. I'll pick you up at 5 o'clock when I leave again. That's your choice. We don't bring them into the workplace. Okay. I've always seen it has nothing to do with how an individual feels. We're compensated to perform at a certain level. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And then number 8, I have accurate insights into how I am perceived in my work and relationship with others. That's food for thought for you. Kyle, do you want me to hit the, I see we have another question. Do you have something that you would like to ask me? Just jump right in.
There's no question.
Oh, okay.
One of our participants was just engaging in conversation. Thank you for the engagement, audience. Clara, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. And then, oh, this is not supposed to be ringing. I'm sorry. Okay, it's not going to ring. Okay. My energy level for developing as a leader is, think about that. What is your level of energy? Number 10, I believe that team building is critical to the success of the organization. And wow, what food for thought. So that's a self-assessment for you to determine. Okay. And then think about that, meditate on it, and be aware. Have you ever heard this phrase? Well, why do we have to do that? We've always done it this way. Uh, that's common, but we're going to talk about being aware of resistance to change by individuals and groups when they perceive that change is occurring and is a threat to them. Okay. Keywords here, I want you to take particular notice is perceive and threat. Introducing change, you want to be proactive when you're introducing change. Prepare to deliver the announcement. How are you going to do that? And I'm going to talk about communicating to a team, effective communication to a team, and spend less time putting out fires if you're proactive, and recognize that resistance to change is a vital part of any change management plan. Now, let me do this. We're going to examine 3 phases of change: exploring change, introducing change, and overcoming resistance to change. Those are the 3 that we're going to examine. For instance, when we're talking about exploring change is a proactive approach to identifying continuous improvement opportunities. You want to switch gears and you want to see, is there another more effective route that you can take? And we're living in a world that change is taking place daily, without a doubt. And then introducing change is necessary when a decision to make a change relative to work performance or company policy. So we have to bring the team together and introduce the change that's taking place. If you're introducing change, it means that the decision has already been made. And then another type is overcoming resistance to change is required when individuals or a team oppose a change that has been introduced or is being implemented. Okay. So if you're in a leadership development role, one thing that you must build upon as you develop is trust. Think about it. Have you ever had trust in somebody and they let you down? It's not a very good feeling. So building team relationships, we want to talk about that. Inspiring trust, which means being trustworthy and demonstrating behaviors that give people the confidence to trust you. And being trusting means demonstrating behaviors that show others that you have confidence and trust in them. So let's build on a foundation of trust. What does that entail? Well, you have to keep commitments, things that you say, follow up. Respecting others is building trust. You never know, a teammate, a team member on your team may have critical information that you need to know about. If they feel as though they can't trust you, they're not going to come to you. So that's why it's building trust on a foundation. It's an imperative. It's not optional. And then being honest with people, and then treating people fairly, and demonstrating sincerity when you're dealing with people, and talk straight. Let's not make up things as we go along, and be willing to listen to each individual. That's critical. When we build on the foundation of trust, it fosters open communication. People will not have a fear of approaching you or sharing information. They share thoughts and rationale. Why? Because they trust you. And you can solicit ideas from others. That's what trust will enable you to be able to become the recipient of. And respect towards others is evident, and acts impartially and without bias. And that's the kind of profile or characteristics or image that you want to create when people are looking to you for direction. Trust breakers entail this. I don't know if anybody is, that's a horrible feeling when you've had trust in someone and they let you down. So let's take a look at what can cause that. You break your promises. You don't honor your word. Serves your own interests as a leader, which will cause people to disrespect you as a leader. See, because when people respect you, they're drawn to you. When they disrespect you and don't trust you, they move away from you. And that's a dangerous position for a leader to be in. And then trust breakers doubts others, acts inconsistently. When you come in, we have to figure out what personality is in operation for that day. Let me tiptoe through the tulips and see what personality he's going to be exhibiting, he or she will be exhibiting today. That's a very uncomfortable feeling. And then here again, avoids issues. Food for thought. Think about this, guys. It's not the position that makes the leader. It's the leader that makes the position. That's what Stanley Huffy said. And he gets my vote on that thought. That should be something that's embedded in our mindset as we continue to develop and take on the responsibility of leading others. And so when we think about leadership and management, there is a difference. Leadership refers to an individual's ability to influence, motivate, and enable others to contribute toward organizational success. That's what leadership is. When we talk about management, management consists of controlling a group or a set of entities to accomplish a goal. So as a developing leader, this is what your main objective should be. You want to be able to build a high performance team. Because here again, I said, when I watch those sports, I always see the leader being recognized. Yet I didn't see him run across the court one time. But he's the one who gets the recognition for the performance of the team. Pay attention to that. Watch who they give the trophy to at a game at first when they step up on the podium. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't see him run across the field. I didn't see him bat the ball. I didn't see him put the ball in the hoop. But yet he's recognized for the performance of the team. That is what we call good leadership. Okay? So a high performance profile of a team is a group of people with specific roles and complementary talents and skills aligned with and committed to a common purpose who consistently display high levels of innovation and collaboration that produce superior results. That's the kind of team that you want to be able to build. Okay? That's a high performance team. We're all in sync with each other. And then building a high performance team, the essentials entail, let's use the BINGO acronym, broaden your knowledge of ethnic groups and cultures. Include others in all aspects of the business operations. Never assume things. Model respect, and I know that I'm being a little repetitive with that, but here again, I want to say it again. When we respect people, people are drawn to us. When we disrespect people, people move away from us, okay? And then openly communicate. Share information and expectations with each other, with everyone. And then you hold people accountable for what's been delegated to them. And I'm going to talk about effective delegation. So let's talk about a meeting, an effective meeting. Can I say this, Kyle? I didn't say a ritualistic gathering. I said an effective meeting. See, because when you have, it's not so much what takes place during the meeting as it is what takes place after the meeting. So if nothing takes place after the meeting, all you had is a ritualistic gathering that went nowhere, okay? Didn't generate any actions. So let's take a look at this. When I think about a structured meeting means effective communication. First of all, the leaders should prepare an agenda for people to follow. In other words, an overview of the items that's going to be discussed or the things that you would like to see delegated and happen. And then if you're thinking about doing something new, implementing a new approach to something, implementing a plan of action, you should open up the floor to participatory decision making. In other words, we're inviting feedback from the attendees because you don't know. Somebody might have that $1 million suggestion. We wouldn't know unless we give them airtime, equal airtime to share with suggestions for moving forward. As because you want to implement an effective plan of action. And then make suggestions for moving forward. Once you've decided the route that you're going to take, then make suggestions for moving forward. What kind of steps do you want to implement? And then we want to delegate. And let me talk about delegating for a minute. I'm going to talk about that, but delegation to a team member is important. And when we delegate to team members, we want to measure and monitor what has been completed and what remains to be completed. Because if you're not doing that, then you don't know where you stand. Okay? So you want to ensure that that's taking place. And then at the end of a meeting, you want to summarize and recap what's been agreed upon and then close. But here again, last step, always periodically hit the pause button and check for understanding that there have been no breakdowns in communication. And here again, during the meeting.
Hey, Clara, I'm sorry. Did we actually have a hand raised? I'm going to unmute the attendee.
Was it about the communication? Okay.
I do believe so. So I am allowing you to talk.
Okay.
If you want to unmute yourself, Kimberly, and go ahead and share what your thought is.
I'm unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kimberly. Hi there. How are you?
How is everybody? Yeah, actually, I did not have my hand raised. I was just making a comment, though.
Okay. You want to share your comment?
Yeah, I think when you were talking about, let's see here, what was it? structured team meeting as far as, being open for ideas. I'm trying to see here. Let's see here. Right. And so it's, I thought what came to mind was creating that psychological safety environment for employees, where they can feel open and welcome to put together input without feel like they're being punished for it, or that they can't speak up or say anything. I mean, so yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
Yeah, and that's why as a leader, you have to create, you have to come across as being approachable, Kimberly. Let me say it that way.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not a professional and you don't speak down to people, and you extend the courtesy of embracing or entertaining what someone has to say, that's why we talk about the participatory decision-making process. That means everybody. We're not talking at people. We want people to engage in the discussion and come up with a multitude of different ideas for an approach that we might, a plan that we might want to implement.
Absolutely. I agree.
Let me say this, buckle up, everybody. This is going to be a little tight. Just because you're the leader, it doesn't mean that you have all the ideas. That's why we have a team. If you agree with that, say, I agree. Makes sense?
Thank you for your comment, Kimberly.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's another thing, humility, be humble enough. That's why you have a team, because you don't have all the know-hows, how to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. That's why we synergize and come together so that we can come up with the best approach in terms of accomplishing what we want to accomplish successfully. No one person has it all. And we should be open to that, because leadership is your title, but character is what you want to be known for. Make sense? Okay. So, and then I think that I got down to here, a check for understanding, to make sure that everybody is walking away with the same understanding. When there's a mistake in communication, mistakes come with very high price tags that will not be going on sale. So we want to make sure that everybody clearly understands what's been agreed upon and what's been delegated to them. And I want to talk about effective delegation also. Okay. So here, in terms of that, remember this, people have a need to be heard and understood, to be respected and valued, to trust and be trusted, and to definitely be involved in everything. The human approach improves communication, it builds trust, and it strengthens relationships. Okay, guys? And now, team collaboration. Here again, I reiterate, if you don't have team collaboration, you don't really have a team. If everybody's going in, a different direction. Team collaboration is a deep collective determination to reach an identical objective. Think about this. A boat doesn't go forward if each one is rowing their own way. Makes sense? Yeah. So we want to make sure that we're all heading in the right direction. And let me talk about this. I want to talk about delegating effectively. A team leader should know each person on their team and what their capabilities are. You wouldn't hire me as a cook and put me in the kitchen if you had a restaurant, because I don't know how to cook. I wouldn't know where to start. I've been making coffee for the last 5 years, and no two pots have ever been the same yet. So we want to make sure that we put people in positions that they're equipped to be successful. So let's take a look at this. Delegating effectively entails lessens personal workload, deadlines, and pressure. Frees your own time and energy for tasks that will provide larger benefits. These are the benefits for you as leader, and makes people ready to handle work and decisions in your absence. And then provides opportunity to assess a person's ability to handle more responsibility and authority. Think about that, guys, delegating effectively. And this is what you want to make sure. You want to put the right person not in the wrong seat. You have the right person, one who shares your core values, but he or she is truly not operating or in his or her unique ability. And so what you're literally doing is setting this individual up for failure. The wrong person in the right seat, the person excels at what he or she does, is extremely productive, and is clearly in his or her unique ability. However, does not share your core values. I didn't just say that, did I? No. Okay. And then people have a need to know. I might think that I'm a 5-star act, but in your ISAT and your estimation or your assessment of my performance, I'm not really doing that well. So providing feedback, because people have a need to know how they're doing. And look at this, guys. Feedback should be timely. It should be balanced. What went well, what might have a margin for improvement, and it should be specific. Okay, so that is critical for providing feedback. Timely, balanced, the pros and the cons, and specific. Exactly what are you talking about? So here we are. Kyle, can I tap into you? How much time do we have left? Because I just have a couple more things that I'd like to share.
Yeah, we have about 34 minutes left.
Okay. So we might be able to entertain a couple of Q's and A's at the end if you like. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, if we have any questions coming in, attendees, thank you for the engagement so far. Don't be shy. You can go ahead and ask any questions that you may have. We'll make sure that we get to it at the end. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go back here. I hit it accidentally. Okay. So if you're going to be successful in the in your, your desire to evolve into an effective leader and have a profound impact on the people who are looking to you for direction, then there are a couple of things that we need to do and talk about. And what comes to my mind is that focus is key. What do you think that means, guys? Focus. Help me out.
I'll hop in. I think for me, what focus is key means being intentional, right? Like if you're being intentional about the relationships that you're building, the trust that is fostering between teams, that's not something that just happens, right? I think the best leaders are focused on trying to foster other leaders. And I believe that that's what that means to me. Is there anyone else who has not an opinion?
Yeah, let's see where we're going with the focus. No? Yes?
I don't see any hand raises or questions coming in.
Guys, help me out here. Help me out. What does focus mean to you? What does that mean to you as a leader? Focus, focus, focus. Help me out, because I can walk away with some new information from you also. I don't have everything. I'm not claiming to cross all the T's and dot all the I's and be a know-it-all. I have a margin for new information. Okay, we have a question.
Okay, I'll read that off. It says, how can I promote, advocate for myself if I'm ready for a bigger role in my company? I have found outside professional development and have been strategically focused on developing myself, but it seems to be overlooked. Do you have any advice for this attendee?
Yeah, do you have discussions with the person that you're reporting to about your accomplishments? And are they aware that you've taken the extra step to empower yourself with new information that you've acquired to build your skill set? Are they aware of that?
And this was from an anonymous attendee. So it sounds like that is something that they should do if that those steps have not already been made. Make them aware of how that outside professional development has positioned them. And they are aware. They are that this
Mhm.
attendee said that they are aware of the outside professional development that they have done, and it still seems to be overlooked. Do you have any advice for this attendee?
Well, just look for other opportunities for growth. That's what I can say. If you're at a dead end in an organization, that would be their loss, not yours, because high performers are an asset to organization. They make things happen. And you can't grow if you're stuck in a box. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. And I
Yeah,
appreciate you answering that. And thank you for the attendee that asked the question.
yeah,
I think that being authentic and transparent is the best way that we grow and develop as leaders. And
yeah,
not only as leaders, but as people,
yeah,
as humans, we have to be authentic and transparent. And
yeah,
sometimes, if you plant a seed in soil that has been beaten, you can't grow, right? You got to make
no,
sure that you're planting your seeds in a garden that has the right environment to
yeah,
shine. And if you feel stuck, maybe something's pushing you into the right bed for you to blossom.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah. You want to grow, we have to entertain what our options are, because effective leaders, here again, and I reiterate, see the potential in the people that they're leading and they elevate them to the next step. Here again, would I have ever thought that I'd be a corporate trainer for, I won't tell you how many years, but it's been a long time. I come from the fifth largest telecommunications corporation in the nation, from New York. And one day, one of the executives said to me, we see something in you and we're going to open up another door for you. I remember I walked in and the HR person said to me, drop your bag, come in my office. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And she said, no, Clara, we want to promote you to another position as the lead instructor for us. And I'm talking about the fifth largest telecommunications corporation in the nation. We draw attention to ourselves for one or two reasons. Either it's something good or it's a margin where there's a margin for improvement. So we have to look at that. And you have to be aware of what opportunities might be available to you. Okay. Hopefully that will help that individual who posed that question. But meanwhile, as you develop, and you know what, guys, whenever you're being considered for a promotion, you know, how many salespeople do I have? Can you just let Kyle know how many salespeople I have in attendance tonight?
You can raise your hand and I can just list off the numbers. I know we do have
Yeah, do you have
a
any
number of,
salespeople?
it doesn't look like it.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't look like you have it. Buckle up, guys. You're all salespeople because what you want to do is sell what you can deliver in terms of professional skills and knowledge. Isn't that how you go to the next level? Yes. Well, if given any opportunity, I'm very good at interacting with people. I know how to master interaction skills, and I'm very good at managing conflict if I see it evolving. We're all salespeople. If you have skills and knowledge, that's what you need to be selling. Okay. So if we're going to the next level and you evolve into a leadership role, focus is key. You know why focus is key? Let me tell you why. Because when you're focused, focus decides what you feel, and what you feel decides what you pursue. Focus is fearlessness in the face of opposition. Focus means staying on target, on top of things. We don't entertain distractions. Here again, I just reiterated that. Focus means you don't entertain procrastination. You know, I'll do it tomorrow, or that can wait. No, procrastination is nothing more than a thief of time. That's all it is. And then focus is when you are focused, you become empowered. Think about that. What a powerful statement. You become empowered. Focus is about decisiveness. In other words, you make decisions quickly and confidently. Focus means you're consistent. You don't vacillate. You're not easily led astray. Focus means you're driven by determination. Determination is what fuel is to a car. You're driven by it. And focus means being disciplined, which is the bridge between thoughts and accomplishment. Remember, focus determines feelings, and feelings determine what you pursue. Also, I'd like for you to remember that talent is a gift, but your attitude, work ethic, and character are things you'll have to develop yourself. Leadership is not about your title. It's about developing others. And then I want to say to you, your legacy, regardless of where you are in your leadership journey, starts now. And so I'd like to hit the pause button again before we close out. Are we getting close to the closing time, Kyle? Let's entertain some questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to you for the last few minutes that we have.
Yeah, we are getting close to the cutoff time. And I think this has just been very insightful so far. And a lot of it actually ties into previous workshops. So the previous a session with Mara Woody, she talked about the trust equation, right? And that was credibility. Do you know your stuff? Reliability. Are you showing up, and are you always delivering? And intimacy. How safe do you feel with the leader, right? So you can be great in all of those areas, but what can minimize your impact as a leader is your self-orientation. Self-orientation. So if you seem to be selfish, if all of your actions are for you instead of developing others, that's going to reduce the amount of trust that those your team, those that are around you could feel for you, right? And so I think that trust is the glue that keeps teams effective.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you're able to show up, do your stuff, always deliver, and provide a safe environment while you're still giving off the energy of you're worried about others and not you, you're going to have people at the table that are willing to talk because they know that it's not about you. It's about us. It's not me, it's we. Not me, it's we. So I really do appreciate everything that you mentioned there.
Yeah. There's no I in teamwork. It goes to we. And if you've ever had the occasion to trust someone and they let you down, that's a horrible feeling. And it's a tall mountain to climb to try to reestablish trust. with that individual or group, because they'll always entertain the what ifs. That's a very tall mountain to try to climb once trust has been broken.
And I think
Okay.
that feeds into the importance of communication,
Yeah.
being intentional. You say focus, I think of intention, right? But
Mhm.
being focused on how you are relaying messages to your team can
Mhm.
either set you up for success or
Mhm.
it can shoot you down, right? I like
Mhm.
to call it shooting from the hip.
Mhm.
As humans, sometimes we're emotional, right?
Mhm.
And when we're emotion, we have to take a step back and recognize that it's not about us. And if
No.
what we're about to say and how we're going to engage with other people is not is going to be selfish and you're shooting from the hip, are you an effective leader? Can you build trust? And the answer
Mhm.
is no, right? So I want to encourage everybody to be intentional with their words, be intentional with their actions,
Oh yeah.
because I think that your legacy starts today. And there's
Yeah.
a quote that I love. It says, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to
Mhm.
be start to be great." Right. And so
Yeah.
no leader was born a leader. They developed. And it doesn't matter where you are in your leadership journey today. Today is the best time to start building up that leadership skills,
Oh
because it's not
yeah.
going to happen over time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen over time, one day at a time, one interaction at a time. You build that
Mhm.
trust through effective communication over time. And I promise you today, I promise you, if that you are intentional with your words, you are intentional with your actions, if you are putting other people before yourself, you're showing up, you're doing what you're supposed to, you have the knowledge to really be effective at what you're trying to
Mhm.
do, and people feel safe around you, you'll move the needle. It doesn't matter what
Oh
industry you're
yeah.
in, you will be effective at creating outcomes, because that's
Mhm.
what it takes to be a leader.
And I'd like to add to that. Sometimes you don't have to look for an opportunity. Opportunities find you based on your performance. Yeah, that's a fact. Someone will approach you, bring you in the office and say, "Hey, we'd like to uh, talk to you about taking you to the next level of promotion. We have a vacancy and we think that you would be a good match." That's what you want to hear. If we're going, somebody is always watching, but what is it that they're seeing? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. What what kind of behavior are we modeling in the workplace? Because sometimes you don't have to look for an opportunity, it finds you.
And I just to go back to one of the questions that was asked, if
Mhm.
if you are showing up, if you're going above and beyond, and you're in an organization where you feel stuck, I really reflect on that, right?
Mhm.
Because thinking about the seed analogy, you can sometimes you can be stuck in a bed of dirt that does not have the proper nutrition to help you flourish, right? And it does sometimes, as humans, we get comfortable, and when we're comfortable, we may not be able to maximize our value, because without being uncomfortable, there's no growth, right? And I think I
Mhm.
love the analogy with the flowers, because if a flower is in a dirt, and you're not getting the type of growth that you want, if you take that same seed and replant it, or that same flower and replant it in the right environment, you can
Mhm. It's
flourish.
gonna grow.
And
Yeah.
life is too short for
Yeah.
you to stay in an environment where you feel stuck. You're
And
valued.
yeah, yeah. And let me build on that value, because you know what, guys, let me tell you something. When you're very good at what you do, if you're under poor leadership, they need to be concerned about retention, because people who really have the goods to deliver, they will leave. Corporations suffer. We have to look at retaining talent, and people are not going to stay who deliver high performance in a toxic environment and poor leadership. It's just not going to happen. They're going to leave. And when an employee jumps ships on you, that comes with a very high price tag that will not be going on sale.
And I think to build off of that, if you look at the retention rate of
Mhm.
employees in
Mhm.
today's
Mhm.
life or environment, it's really short. And so there's a couple ways that employers can retain talent. You can increase
Mhm.
pay. Well, you can only do so much of that because there's finite resources available. You can
Yeah.
offer types of benefits, but that goes back to there's limited resources to increase benefits. So the number one way and the most cost-effective way to retain talent is respect. It's by building
Absolutely.
trust. It's by empowering individuals. And I promise you, if you are in an environment where you don't feel that there's someone who is going to
Mm.
recognize your value and
Mm.
provide you the type of support that is going to help you grow. And the
Yeah.
question is, are you too comfortable to stay where you're at, where you can't flourish? And if
Yeah.
the answer is yes, I challenge you to dig deep inside and say, what is it going to take for me to grow? And can I grow in this environment?
Mhm. Mhm. And I tell you, you just shared a profound word with respect. When I think about respect, when we respect people, people are drawn to us. When we disrespect people, people move away from us.
Mm,
And that's a very bad position to be in. It really is.
absolutely. Clara, we have one more question.
Certainly.
Do you have any tips for acting as a leader in an environment with low morale?
Well, motivation. You want to, as a leader, you also want to be a catalyst. You don't want to come to work looking like you should be on a respirator.
Hmm.
So, here again, effective communication is the most valuable tool that a leader can have. And if you've noticed that the morale is low, how are we going to approach that to generate resolution? By communication. You can't solve a problem without defining what the problem entails. So we need to come together and talk about what it is that people are having a hard time with. You can't
Mm.
address the unknown. Does that make sense?
I think that you hit it right on the head. I think a
Yeah.
lot of times, lower level employees, they could view leadership as like an ivory tower where there's just detached, right?
And
And now go
and
for
you
it.
know, and you know what else? I just thought about, oh, I get excited about this. When somebody is modeling a pattern of productive behavior, guys, and you're moving into a leadership role, don't see that as a bad thing. You ought to take out your pom poms and start waving them and say, "Oh, roll up your sleeves." Say, I have a good one today. Let me see how I'm going to bring them around." Because you can't measure your effectiveness until you've been challenged, and
Mm.
challenges make champions.
Ooh, I like that. And I think that goes back to the question, is there any value in a bad leaders? Can bad leaders be assets, right? And I think that any challenge can be overcome, right? And so if there
Mm-hmm.
is a leader that may not be as inclusive, the trust is low, their communication styles are small, are weak, well then it's on us to like say, okay, how can I adjust how I communicate? How can I adjust how I interact with this individual so that they're able to level up? Because leadership is about leveling up other people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
of course, you can follow. Before you can lead, you must follow. But through following, you can help other people develop. But it goes to effective communication, building trust with that individual, and consistency. Without communication, trust, and
Mm-hmm.
consistency, there can never be change.
Mm-hmm. When your approach, when you're confronted with a person who's modeling a pattern of unproductive behavior, see that as an opportunity
Mm.
to model the behavior that they would hope that you hope that they would have, and they just might get it. Here again, it goes back to perception again, and again, we treat people based on who we believe that they are. But when you begin to speak and carry yourself professional, they have to back up and say, "Oh, wait a minute, this is not what I thought it was. Let me regroup here." Model the behavior. Never relinquish power to somebody to control how you respond to their negativity. See that as an opportunity. See it as a challenge, because when we're challenged, challenges make champions.
Yes, and I think that it may be the millennial in me coming out. I think that life's too short to be complacent. If you're showing up, you're being consistent, you're really trying to impact that type of leadership, but you feel like nothing's going through, you're gonna have to really do a gut check. You're gonna have to determine, is this something that I'm willing to continue to fight for?
Yeah.
That's a question that only you can
Yeah.
answer. If the answer is no, well, then nobody's going to judge you for choosing to live your life, because the last thing I want you to do is feel burnout. Life's too short, and somebody out there is going to value you, right?
Yeah.
But don't jump ship just at the first sign of discomfort, right? Because
No.
how do you grow if when you experience challenge, you run for the hill, climb that hill? Keep
That's it.
fighting, keep pushing, but also recognize your boundaries, because life's too short for you to get burnt out trying to change
yeah.
other people when there are other places that you can flourish, other beds that you can grow.
Yeah.
Don't try to change something and bust your head into a wall, because there are places that will open a door.
Yeah. Ask yourself, when you're in an environment, the WIIFM, what's in it for me to remain here? Make sense? WIIFM, what's in it for me?
Yes. Yes. And I think the consistency of trying to impact leadership that may have low morale, that may not be as open to listening to your suggestions, it's developing your leadership ability. You're enhancing your communication skills. You're enhancing your ability to develop trust. And that's why I always appreciate having dialogue with people who have alternate beliefs as me, right? Because that's challenging my empathy bone, so that I can convey my beliefs and understandings of the world to someone who sees something different. And the win for me is not getting them to see how I see. The win for me is allowing us to leave this conversation still effective. Still, it's like, you know what, we may not agree on the same thing, but I still respect you. And that's a win for me. And that's me leveling up my ability to lead. And at the end of the day, that's how we grow and develop, is by having these critical conversations
Oh, yeah.
that may be uncomfortable.
What I think we have to recognize also, guys, is in the workplace, nothing is personal. It's strictly business. And teams that you can do funny things if you're a monopoly, because you have control of everything. But if you're in pure competition in a company and you're not leading well and you have competitors, you might start to lose part of your business.
Yes.
So companies, organizations can't be any better than the people who are driving them. And if you're operating at a competitive environment, you better be very good at what you're doing, because people will not be willing to do business with you.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
So we have about 7 minutes left. If anyone has any final questions, go ahead and drop it into the Q&A. Clara, if you can go to the last slide. For those of you that are on the call,
Certainly.
first and foremost, thank you so much for attending us today.
Yeah.
I'll let you go ahead and close out, Clara, before we talk about the feedback.
Okay, guys, I'd like to say it's been my pleasure speaking with you this evening, and thank you for your feedback, the questions that you posed to us, and perhaps we'll come together one day face to face. I've been in Missouri before. I'm currently located in Florida, but it would be my pleasure to come out there and meet with you face to face. So look at some of the programs that they're offering at the University of Missouri, and maybe we can come together. Okay. And so I know that if you've joined this presentation willingly, that's already a clue that you're looking forward to going to the next level. Okay. You're increasing your knowledge base, and that's an asset, not a liability. Okay. And so at this point, thank you again. Have a very pleasant evening. And I'm going to turn it over to Kyle.
Thank you. Thank you. And we have one question.
Okay.
The people want to know, do you have a LinkedIn?
Pardon me?
The people
Do
want to
I-
know.
I am on LinkedIn. You know, I don't do too much in social media. There's a generational gap here, guys. We can talk about that later. I'll give you this little joke. Can I give them the joke about my phones? Kyle, is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there's some differences in the workplace. See, I do have a mobile, but I do have a home phone too. Probably a younger generation will probably say, well, what is that? A home? Yes, you can find me. I am on LinkedIn. I do get messages from there from far back as 22 years.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And Clara, I just want to say thank you so much for attending today and sharing your wisdom. There were so many gems, and I think you really reinforced all of the messages from the previous facilitators. Because let's face it, being effective human and building
Yeah.
these soft skills, it takes intentionality,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I hope that everyone receives something from here. You see this QR code. I dropped a link in the chat. We would love to hear your feedback on this evening's session. So if you have your phone available, go ahead and scan the QR code. If you're watching this from your phone, go ahead and click the link in the chat. And provide any type of feedback that you may have. You know, I think without feedback, we can't grow. Clara kind of mentioned that today. So
Yeah.
without feedback, we can't grow, and we definitely want to grow. We want
Yeah.
to flourish. So if
Absolutely.
you have a chance to scan that QR code or click the link in the chat, we want to hear from you. And you know, thank you for showing up today. If we have any further sessions, I'll make sure to use the same type of channels to get the word out. And again, you could well, I'm not as cool as Clara. You could absolutely
No,
you could
we're
find me
all in
on
this
LinkedIn.
together. We're a team.
Thank you, Clara. I appreciate it. But yeah, you can always reach out to me. You can find me at OMSL's website. You can find me on LinkedIn. And you know, again, you know, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So I challenge you, if you're feeling stuck in a location, go out there and find a place that's going to value you. I know change can be scary, but you know what else is scary? Being stuck in an environment that doesn't value you.
That's right.
Go out
That's
there,
right.
live your best life, and thank you for attending today.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and quit this recording, and I will see you all at another time.
Okay. Bye-bye.